But when you are in front of me, even right now, my body lights up with electricity.
Hmm.
And this is that divine consciousness kind of stepping forward for your show. And this is some of the things that your audience will be feeling. It's like, hey, why does this feel different? It's because this high frequency energy is in front of them, present, and getting ready to start working on them as they desire.
I can feel that. And so this energy starts working on everybody who hears this call, who's listening in any form. I got to ask the question. I don't know if I asked you this last time. Why do you think these beings chose you, and maybe more importantly, this time to do this, to open this doorway so this information and this energy can come through?
Yeah, absolutely. So we always hear about stories of I'm waking up to my celestial self, my ET self, and my history, right? I'm a this species or I'm a that species. Beautiful stuff. But for me, my job is exactly what I'm doing right now, and I've done it billions of times. I show up at times of great ascension to do the heavy lifting to accelerate the ascension of species. I'm from the divine, I'm part of the divine. And my job is literally to come in here and pull all of that heavy trauma off of someone, but not just someone, but massive amount of people, so that we as a collective can begin evolving as the human and as our soul. So this is just my job. I've chosen, maybe I was a smart guy up there and said, hey, I'll take a challenge, but this is what I do.
Wow. Wow. So as we talk about this, my feeling is so you're doing this for us, but there's a bigger mission, there's a bigger thing that's coming forward that maybe everyone here needs to also think and realize, as Ken does this for me, the energy that changes in my body. And Ken, this is just coming in from spirit, so I'm a little tongue tied, but it feels like what they want me to say is the energy that's going to come through for you into the people listening, they are going to now have energy that will shift other people. So it's like a ripple effect, is what it sounds like.
And that's exactly what the team calls it, the ripple effect. And it's no
Oh,
different
wow.
than the concept of you walking into a room of high energy people and you're a low energy, you're going to start rising up, right? So as you remove the trauma from your body, as you pull in that abundance in life and become happy, become excited, become joyful, you're going to ripple that out through everyone around you. It's unstoppable. It's amazing stuff. So yes, the ripple effect.
Well, I gotta tell you, Krista says from joining the call 6 minutes ago, I feel like I drank 5 cups of coffee. I usually don't feel energy, but I am buzzing. This is incredible. So everyone, just get ready and receive the fact that you are going to be changed, and you're going to be changing others with your vibration. One of the things that's pretty interesting about your work is the way that you communicate with energy in the body. And you actually realize that energy in the body can create blockages to health, which we've covered, but also could create blockages to resources arriving, our desires, our needs, our things that we want to experience coming in. How does that work? What creates those blockages?
So there's a lot of different categories of blockages, but just the overall term, right? When we have things like these really deep trauma that's trapped in our body, all right, the emotional trauma, it's difficult for us to think about. We can all dream, we can all desire, I want to manifest that a particular abundance thing, but we don't have the energy inside of us for that to arrive. When we start dealing with, other things in our life, we talk about the trapped emotions, the trapped trauma, we start talking about the belief system, the things that we grew up with, our environment, right? You grew up in poverty, everything must be poverty. It's very difficult for us to break through from that. There's that subconscious layer, right? As the human, we want to show up and say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to show up. I'm going to bring that in, but it doesn't show up there, out there because the energy that's in our field is reflecting or creating the energy outside of our field, meaning the universe is kind of like reading our fingerprint, our frequency fingerprint, and says, okay, what are they ready for? What do they really, really want? We need to match where they're at. So the idea here is not the idea. What actually happens is as you remove those lower vibrational frequencies, the universe matches those higher vibrational frequencies. The abundance, the manifestation, if you will, becomes almost in the now for people.
So when we start to match those higher vibrational frequencies, because our body begins to encompass higher vibrational frequencies, give me some examples of what you've seen happen with people. What are some examples of like a high vibrational experience or an abundance experience that you've seen open up for someone?
I gotta tell you, so I was invited the other day to be a guest in a private group, right? These are a bunch of leaders in their conscious business, right? And I showed up to help them with pain and discomfort, especially stress in their life. All right, and I was just a guest. I was there for 20 minutes, and I got messages the very next day from the host saying, listen, their lives are already changed. One of the ladies does, she does a Reiki practitioner, right? She teaches Reiki, which is great. But she's taught the same thing over and over, the same process, right? We
Mm.
know Reiki has a process of teaching. And she says, listen, when she did her class the next day, it blew everybody out of the room. Even though she did the same process, the amount of energy and the codes was felt by everybody. In addition, two of the other individuals in the room immediately began seeing business flow. They woke up with business inspiration, ideas, that guidance that we're all searching for was instant to them. So, back to the question. When we remove those lower vibrational frequencies, the good juicy stuff naturally arrives. You don't have to work for it.
Yeah, this is incredible. Let me know if any of you are getting that this is perhaps even much more of a frequency game than it is a hard work struggle game. I'm not saying you don't do anything. I mean, you will take steps, but it is not about struggle. It is about frequency. Let me know if you kind of understand that. Give me a thumbs up or say, yeah, I get it. One of the things you mentioned is the body. Healing the body plays a significant role in manifestation techniques. Okay, yeah, everybody's getting this. It is definitely an energy game. So, how does healing the body play a role in accelerating all manifesting?
Well, think about this. How do you manifest when you're depressed? It's hard, right?
Yeah.
And that's a lower frequency energy. How do you manifest when you have pain in your body? Or you know that you've got a situation that is either, and again, we're not doctors here, we're just talking energy, but undiagnosable or untreatable or long-term relief. How do you think about the future? How do you bring those high energy dreams in when you're dealing with the very moment of how do I get from the kitchen to the living room, as
Yeah.
an example? So this is why when the body starts healing itself, because that's really what's happening, when the body starts healing itself, everything else just starts falling in place.
Wow. Thank you for that. And we're going to be diving in with some callers today and helping them. You actually have talked a lot about ancestral energies, ancestral patterns in our energy field. How do some of these invisible patterns play out in our lives?
Well, some of these are called patterns, or I call them contracts sometimes. So imagine a life where you, again, were not just in poverty, but you were intentionally suppressed. Like the idea of you doing anything other than just basic human labor was completely frowned upon. You were punished. You were all of those things. Well, that's a frequency pattern, a fingerprint, a contract that can and often does follow our soul to the next existence, looking for the opportunity to be released. And when that's released, that pattern of low frequency is gone.
I want to ask this in terms of the Soul Infused Collective. What do they see in terms of humanity and sort of the paths that we have been on? I know, as you said, a lot of times this awakening has been suppressed. What do they see as kind of uh, what is coming and what is happening to those who maybe tried to suppress humanity to keep us in somewhat of an enslavement?
So, one of the things that they don't do is have competition. So they don't poo-poo, if you will, to use those words, on
Okay.
any other collective, on any other energies, on any other things that are happening in the world or in the galactic. That is not what they do. But what they do is they bring in the opportunity
Mm.
to accelerate things. We all have choices. We all have amazing things, right? But now the divine simply says, listen, the clock's run out. The clock's run out for the slow, ascension of the human. And we want to say ascension and the idea of not only the ascension topic, which is a whole nother interview another day, but also the evolution of the human, moving the human into this next phase. So the physical human, the spiritual human, right? There's like the times right now, we're now stepping in, we're opening up this gateway, this pathway to remove all that suppression energy defined by 100 different categories. But we're opening it up and we're going to allow that high frequency to come in so we can accelerate the collective as we work on one person to remove those lower frequencies and the ripple effect. All of humanity starts raising the frequency, rapidly moving into the ascension in a natural process.
Explain to me, if you can, how the energies shift when you work with someone or someone comes in contact with this energy. Is it like a DNA awakening, like an unfurling of wisdom that's already there? Is it a clearing or a transference of, low energy for high energy? How do you understand it to work?
So I see things in kind of three different phases, and everyone's in a different place in the phase. The first one is let's take care of the body. Let's
Mm.
get the body to recover to its naturally healthy state, defined by
Yeah.
everyone individually. I call them the sandbags on the hot air balloon. Let's drop them sandbags so we can begin naturally moving to our state. When we get to that point, and it's not that it's phase one, phase two, they can all happen simultaneously, but the next one is expanding our awareness of who we are, our soul, our connection to our own collective, our own teams, our own divine. Let's bring in the idea that we are indeed a spirit having a human experience and move away from the human not really believing in the other stuff. So when that shifts, that's when the DNA activations, that's when the physical
Got
body
it.
starts shifting. Because now that we're allowing in that weird subconscious way that say, I am more than that, we evolve. We evolve in this lifetime rapidly than any other human evolvement process historically.
Yeah, it sounds like it is a question of awareness and acknowledgement, but I like what you shared about dropping the sandbags because until we drop that, it's very hard for us to get to the next level of awareness. What are some of the quote unquote sandbags that you see on clients, people that you work with? What shows up? What comes forward, into your view and the collective's view when these sessions are happening?
There's a generalized theme that my
Okay.
team tells me. You can either allow life to flow through you, which is where we want to get to. We want to have an event, we want to process it, we want to release it. But that's not where most people are at. Most people are life flows at you. You have an event, you process it, and then you hold it for your entire life.
Mm.
The root chakra, the sacral, shishk, the heart, the trapped emotions in the body. This is where all of those sandbags are held. And today, we get to take care of some of that later.
Yeah, we are going to do it. So raise your hand. I've got to ask the collective for people wondering, and also in disclosure and transparency. What is the collective, and how do they help a lot of these clients? And we're getting people writing in that say they had amazing sessions with you. So if you've had a session with Ken, let us know what's going on in your life, what happened. We're getting all kind of stories, Ken. It's amazing. Who are they, and what are they doing, and how are they interacting as well with your work to make these shifts rapid and possible for people?
So one of the things I was told in business, my historical previous business, never talk numbers. Never ever talk numbers. But we're going to talk numbers for the moment, but recognize everyone that it shifts and changes. So this omni stream of divine consciousness that flows through my soul is ever changing.
Hmm.
Meaning that when I show up to a group of what we have today and on the replays, the tools, the team members will come in, the divine collective, and provide those tools. But my last awareness was 16 ascended masters. Now, please understand, folks, it is not all of them. It is a spark, a tool from their tool belt that is part of me. I have four oversouls the last time I checked. I have 10 Christed ETs, which is the same understanding we would, or concept we would say, an ascended master ET. So that ET is their original divine lineage, and they've gone through their own evolutionary process. So they hold the Christ light, if you will. Then in the field, I have 15 archangels. So all of these divine entities ensure that one, everything that flows through me adheres to universal law. Everything that flows through me adheres to the collective law.
Okay.
And they also scrub. So the codes that come down are actually coming from your team. Your team says, Darius, hey, Darius needs to have this thing. How do we get it to him? It takes a human to activate or heal a human. So Darius's collective will then contract, we'll use that fun word just for a moment, through the divine collective, and they'll
Mm.
pull that down through me for you. Every person on the call, their team is lined up, ready to push these things through. But my team makes sure that it is pure code. No backdoors, no hooks, no extras, no small print. So this is how this shows up. And because of that, the frequency in the body, the frequency your audience is feeling is that divine energy. I hope I answered that question. I may have gotten sidetracked.
Oh, it's amazing. I think we can really grasp it and kind of feel that there is this energy that wants to reach us. There is this activation frequency that is touching all humanity, and we're just going to accelerate that doorway. Do things like contracts, poverty contracts, celibacy contracts, do those still exist? Do entities or lower vibrational type of things like curses and implants and all
Yeah,
that, do you still see that stuff?
we do.
Kind of run the gamut on all this stuff. Is that still a factor for humans today on Earth?
It is. Check the boxes all the way across the board. I'm dealing with contracts all the time, ancestral,
Mm,
past life stuff. I don't run into that much magic. I'm doing the bunny ears because there's white magic and there's black magic.
okay.
White magic are the things we do to ourselves. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not pretty enough. That's white magic. We all do that a little bit. But even the black magic, which is magic, and again, I hate to use that word, but it's just magic by others put onto us. I do see that. And sometimes I see it generational.
Mm,
So again, when we deal with this issue for one person, it actually spreads out and releases it across the generations. They do show up. I do see, again, just the general term, I call it the yuckies. You may call it darkness. Everyone has their term, but I think yuckies is more appropriate, only because it's a neutral term. But I do see those, and we do carry them. And those actually show up when we find ourselves in these really low states of emotional place for extended duration. It opens up the door to match that frequency you're at. And when those yuckies come in, they really like to do, the squatter syndrome, right? They like to squat and stick
mm.
around. So they do make it a little difficult, but I do see them. I absolutely still see them.
What are some signs if someone is kind of looking at this and they're looking at the landscape of their reality? What are some signs that something not of your highest light is affecting you in the area of abundance? And we'll take abundance first here. What does that start to look like?
Well, let's shift that just a little bit because you'll
Okay.
probably notice that frequency, and again, we'll use that term of not in your highest good, moving around in your body. It's here one day or it's here one moment, and then it shifts down to the leg, right? You may notice that you go to healers and you get temporary relief for seconds, or maybe a day, and then it's back. You're not getting relief. You have an undiagnosed situation by a professional. They just can't understand what's happening. These are things that are part of you that are not in 100% alignment. Pure energy, if you will. And this again will translate into the abundance piece. The abundance is a little harder to understand, right? Why am I never getting a relationship? Why am I never getting that car I need? Why do I have these poor things happening? I do the work. I show up, put a smile on my face. I read the books. It's still not happening. But you can also then reflect into the body. Why is my body also reflecting the lack, just like the abundance lack? It's a little harder to touch on though.
Yeah. Okay, I want to hear from all of you. This is incredible information as we're not only connecting with Ken, we're also able to connect in with this Soul Infused Collective and all of this higher energy and wisdom that comes through. So if you have a question, I want to give you some help, please. So go ahead and send in your questions. And we've got a lot of things coming in. I also want to help some folks. If you're going to raise your hand, let's do that and give some people some support today. So go ahead and go to reactions. If you are on your phone, you may see it above your name. If you're listening in on a webcast, you just want to click the little heart button. And I'm going to go to, let's see, we've got a couple very interesting folks. I like to grab some folks I've never probably talked to before. I think Andrea, Andrea. I'm going to ask you to unmute Andrea and I'll send you an unmute request. But first, Ken, as we do this, and we do this kind of like little mini sessions, little mini clearings, anything you want some of the callers to keep in mind or know
Yeah.
before we start in with them?
Yeah. So we're moving energy first of all. So
Okay.
no one show up saying, "Hey, heal, cure," or those words. We're just moving energy. Second of all, make sure you can feel it at the moment you're raising your hand. A pain, a discomfort, something, because you're going to notice the shift right away. But if you show up to say, I've got this particular dis-ease or this thing, you're not going to notice the release or the relief on this call. That's for another call. But yeah, make sure you've got something you can be tangible and you can validate and verify in your own way.
Yeah, and sometimes it's super helpful for Ken and myself if you can ascribe a number to where you're at when you get on the call. Like I've got this feeling it's a 10, then we can see where we end up at the end of the call. And sometimes that's important to acknowledge this has shifted because then you can start your new path forward. So we've got Andrea V. Andrea, how are you doing today? What's going on?
Good, good, thank you. But I don't have any physical pain. If I have an issue that is called hyperhidrosis, and that is an excessive sweating for
Stay there.
doing anything.
Stay.
I think we got two people unmuted here. Hold on one second. So, Andrea, you've got a situation. You said excess sweating. What does that feel like in your body when that starts happening? What do you feel?
I mean, I can start sweating without doing anything, without doing any exercise or anything, and but the sweating is a lot. I mean, I feel my clothes is
Mhm.
always wet because a lot of sweating. So it's very uncomfortable for me because I have to hide, I have to use different kind of clothes or black clothes so people
Yeah.
don't so I'm
So,
trying to
so
hide.
the team can
And
work on you, but you're probably not going to recognize this shift on the call. I'm happy to assist you though, okay?
thank you so much.
Shilea que la que no shakoya que nama maki que la do aki alari arotoria kari. There's three additional friends that we're just gonna push off to the side. Kaliari, these are just consciousnesses that are actually creating the condition. Remember, I see energy, but I see the consciousness of the energy or the consciousness of the condition. You've got three that are kind of hanging out. Kaliari ari arete karo to one. Kala ama pakari to both of you. Kala ama pakalena kalo kanyata kishkiri. Shkoria mabalere anaro ne nushkiri kabaduari akamabalene netskunur kanya babale kalo mabalene richkiri badia. Kuriaro kamabalere kono skuria ne kalaro le kamade rotiri tekiriski do karia kolorio no karia mabalere yari tiri kidishkiri ka. There's a belief system we're going to remove. Koliaro shikari akira kario go dorga da pariata self-limitation. Go on, continue. Kalori shalare and yet little kalamarganishi but gonina but goneshkiri kalori mabalero ki shkoria kalamargania to Grammarganishi Korea much good Shkidia Shukoto to Shkabar and the Sinita Karigar but Shkidina Kalori Kalora but Gonina but Goneshi Apa to the Shkidia Karko but Goshkida Carpano Namamiana Kolama Baleno Kalamano Kanio Kanama Balero Joshikatako Maliari and Shkidia. So you will probably feel some shifts of energy, but again, you're not going to know how this shows up until it doesn't show up.
Yes, yes, I was feeling the energy moving around. Thank you
Ken,
so much.
you said there were three things that were affecting her and this. What can you explain a little more about that if that's okay or if
Yeah,
that's allowed?
I can't. Well, I can, but here's the thing. So one of the things my team doesn't do is kind of get into the story. But if you
Forensics.
can think, if you yeah, if you can think of every dis-ease, every discomfort, every pain, every shift, every emotion
Hmm.
has a consciousness. That consciousness is a program, if you will. It has a job to do. when that is in the body, it creates the condition in the example that she said. But there were three different conditions that were
Okay.
contributing to her request. So I will literally pull them out of the body
Wow.
and then drop the energy.
Hmm.
And it's funny, when I drop the energy, they actually, in my mind, in my visuals, almost at least the last 2 weeks, they've been kind of dematerializing the energy bodies completely and then rebuilding as I snap the fingers.
Wow. Andrea, how are you feeling right now? What's going on?
When he was working on me, I was feeling a lot of energy moving through all my body.
Nice. Okay. Nice. All right. This is one, like you said, we're going to have to hear back from you on what happens.
Yes.
Thank
Thank you
you
so
very much.
much.
And we send you love. All right. Very interesting stuff. I'm going to go to another caller. I know we've got a lot of folks very eager to work with Ken. He is super popular. And I'm going to also let you guys know it's going to be a very big weekend. We got some cool things going on. So you definitely, if you've been wanting a session, this may be the time to get it. I want to go with Jean, Jeanfs. Now, Jean, I don't know if we've chatted before, but I certainly feel you've got a beautiful vibe and energy, and we want to help you. What's going on?
Um, Hello there.
Hello.
Okay. I love a scan. I have Ken's program. I have a group session in June.
Okay.
But I've never had a scan. I'd love a scan just to see if I have anything in me.
Yeah, so I don't do scans necessarily. Now, respectfully, I could scan you and I could find 100 things, right? So
Okay.
what I'm really about is what is bothering you right now, right this very second. Let's tackle that
Mm.
biggest thing in your life versus me saying, oh, yeah, you have a respectfully, you have a pimple I'm going to work out. No, that's not important to you. But what is important to you?
Uh, Sciatica and blood pressure. I'm not sure which one you can.
Can you feel that sciatica right now?
About 8.
Perfect.
Oh,
We'll
okay.
do that. We'll do that. Hold on. Is that moving to your left?
It's on my right.
It's moving down the right side.
Yes.
Kaya siya kia ko kia naka ala hiya chikaro kurio kale ala ka one kaya ka rotore kinya mama baleri ara papai kinishkinya to kurio no kana. That was a lower vibrational frequency we're moving right now. Kaya shali ala kaloro mania no kalemani ariano kamario ni eskidiro kabari ko amar ko ni eskidiro kaya ara tira badia kaloria no skurio no kabalero kaya na kabalero kaya ni kishilere kalaro etaria kaya mama lere kaya ni kaloria na badia na karo na badia kamario na kanya ko kabari ko ni eskidiro eskidiro brudio studio Shukuri ka bari gari ni chikiri garo go bari onesh kelaro mabalane na shkilelo bari odi mabaliri tiki lirki shkelero kalare kalaro ki kalari nari na kali kari ne kalo kari bupu no kari ma papa yantari ne karoto kapapali ata karoshka kuri mamaria shurotoria periori rieta riare karagora marco ne ara bari oshiri dia shukuri no mo no mane ani apa do kari or no kara bari no shkiri kala bari odi ti shiri ki lio ka mamale kalia kolare kalane ke shiri ne karia kolare no shkelare koria mapaliare kare open her up pull the attachment out Koleli roko to yo to karia kariari ya tiene area karia to one contract. Shkari na kapa kalia kuri mapakari na kia pori maparia shkuri. How's that feel?
Better, probably about a 5.
Yeah, we're gonna let that ease for you have so let me kind of explain to the audience because I'm sure they're curious. You actually had one of those lower vibrational yuckies as we discussed earlier that immediately showed up. So I removed that energy, right? And as
Mm-hmm.
I'm moving down through the lower part of the body, we have what we call attachments. I like to call them critters. Remember, this is just energy. The energy shows up to me in a way that the divine or spirit wants me to see it. This isn't actually what it is, but the shows up as what I call a little creepy crawly. So I had to pull that out of the lower part of the spine as I did that. Now, as I'm talking, where's your pain number at now?
About a 4.
Okay, we'll
It's
give you
going down. Yeah, it
Yep.
keeps dropping.
Yep. Let me just kind of give her a touch up, and then we can move on to
Oh,
others as well. And so this will continue to work for you. Shiliati ala, you have emotions that are trapped. Shikilera kalara mabalera kilir shikilera kalara mamalara enari no shi childhood trauma. Kalera kiliro kuroto kore mabalera kalari ariaro atori mabalero kirio shiniri kore mabalero kamaru mabalero shikoria release. Kalano mabaria. There we go. Kalamamabalero no skoro no kababalero kamabalero kanababalero kalor shikeria karikora barikonia barenia I don't know shikinia kania to konia shikeria digaria shikoria no korea maparia. There's just a lot of trauma coming out. Hold on. Shikaria mama malaria aria to korea mabalea kinakato koshieta kaya mapakalia monia mapakarina aluya kalia shiana karia. It's still gonna I think you're I'm not gonna give you the number. Go ahead and let us know.
No, I have lots of vibration going on in my body, my hands, my feet. Um, you know, I can't feel the pain right now. I'm gonna try to bend to sit to see, but it feels great, but I still have vibrations
Nice.
going through my body.
Yeah, that's the energy moving through you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you
All right.
very much.
Well, Gene,
Thank you.
don't force it. If you're not feeling it and you started at a 9 or 8 or 10, I don't
8.
even remember. Yeah, if you're not
Yeah.
feeling it, that's effectively a 0. But as you kind of let it run and maybe try a little movement, will you let us know in the chat? Because that's just
Okay.
pretty amazing. All right,
Thank
and
you.
the thing is, I want to say to everybody, when we do stuff like this, I don't want anyone to go back into the story because that's like opens up that old reality. It opens up the door. And we want to just say, okay, what is possible now? Where are we going to be now? And start imagining, feeling that new reality opening up, that new awareness, that new self now into the new timeline, because that's how we get out of the old timeline. We don't want to bring it back. This is exciting, Ken. I mean, amazing stuff. And we were going to talk about abundance, but the body ties into this. So it's great we're getting body stuff. I'm going to go to another caller. We've got Emily. And Emily, how are you doing today? Just wanted to reach out to you. Thank you for raising your hand. Hi, what's going
Oh
on?
my gosh, I'm like in shock. Thank you so much. I have so much health issues, and I know you want me to narrow it down to one thing for today. I believe it's from viruses that I have extreme chronic fatigue. Probably at this moment, like a 2 out of 10. I mean, like I have about a 2 level of energy if
Oh.
10 is like normal.
Okay, cool. Hang on a second here. There's a lot of energy I'm pulling out of you that just doesn't belong to you. Nothing bad here. Nothing yucky. But we're going to close your solar plexus down just a little. I'll explain that in a moment. This is where the energy leakage is coming from. Now I'm going to work in the cells of the body, kind of open them up. And by the way, this works for everyone listening. Drop. Rebuild. Expand. Shiliapo Karia Knaria Naria Nari Rono Noya Nama Marakiana Karia Natariaro Toria Karia Kamaba Korioto Shikaria Nakaria Kelaroria. You should give us a report.
Thank you. I felt a little emotional, and now I'm feeling slightly shaky.
Okay. How's the energy?
Slightly more alert, and maybe like I've bumped up a point, so I know something's happening.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me kind of explain what was happening on my side. So our solar plexus is where we travel at night, whether we're aware of it or not. This is where we go out to the universe, the cosmos, and we do our astral travel, again, whether we're aware of it or not. Sometimes those portals can be left open a little bit, right? Like leaving the door open. And energy, I call it backflow. The energy will come back in. Well, what happened here is that backflow had been happening for quite a long time and actually started coating the cells of the body. Now, let me explain why this is important. Our light bodies communicate to the physical body as it compresses down into the physical matter, but through the cells of our body. So think about the cells of the body having a little flashlight in them. That flashlight is our light body, the energy outside of us, if you will. Yours were cloudy. So what we did is we removed that cloudiness and we opened up the amount of light that can come in through the body. And over the next few minutes, they're saying 10 to 15 minutes, you're going to start noticing this natural flow of very gentle, organic energy, if you will.
Wow.
Wow. Thank you so much.
How are you feeling now? Do you kind of, now that you see what was going on, or you can perceive it from what Ken shared, how's it moving now?
Yeah, no, I'm feeling a little more alert, which is a good sign, and hopeful.
Okay. Yeah. This
that's
is interesting.
The
Go ahead.
biggest shift of all, because I've been so discouraged.
This is not her, right, Ken? I mean, that's not her energy per se,
No.
right? Something's been left open, and there's influence or vibrational pulls and directions that aren't her natural state.
They're talking to me now, but as we begin to expand as well as the human, as we become more aware of what we really are, we don't necessarily have the tools, let's just call it the tools for a moment, in us to say, okay, well, now that I can travel astrically, or I can do these things, I don't have the tool to kind of, do let's make sure we're protected, let's make sure the door's shut, let's make sure those type of things, right? So we have the tools out there already. Our soul has the tools, right? But we need to be activated, those activations we all talk about, to bring them into the body so we can use these tools we already have effectively. So as we grow, we start having these little weirdness things like this happen. It's literally some people might call it an ascension symptom. Not quite, but close, just to kind of give people a correlation.
Can I ask a quick question? Would this be affecting my immune system?
Yeah, absolutely. So while we all think about the idea of food, digestion, processing, nutrients, right? When you boil all that down, it boils down into the idea of light, photons, electrons, atoms, things and such like that. When we open up the cells of the body, you are literally being fed nutrients, if you will, or vitamins, if you will, from your light body. When those close down, they also create situations in the body where the body can't do its natural biological behavior. That was them channeling. So I hope that provided some understanding, at least from the divine's perspective.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
So grateful.
All right. I love it. We're helping people all over the world. Things are shifting. Ken, amazing. Thank you. The Soul Infused Collective. Wow. I want to take a question from Anita. I've never heard of this before, but she just wrote in about 5 minutes ago. I have a dark discoloration that shows up on my face now, and then I believe it is affecting my abundance. So, Anita, I don't know if you have your hand raised. It'd be great to talk with you. Yeah, actually, I think you do. All right, let me go to Amita. There she is. Hey, Amita, what's going on?
Hi. Yeah, I had a session with Ken. It was great. And I'm struggling this with I think 4 or 5 years, and I see now and then there's like dark spots, not spot, like literally especially my forehead become dark in some night, after some nights, and then I do energy things and then it go away and then it again come back. So
Right. So real quick question. Did we work on this already? I don't believe we have. I just want to
no,
know.
we did
Okay.
not.
So there's two things that are
Oh,
happening.
okay.
There's two things. One is a branding mark. Now, I want you to understand the idea of branding from an energetic perspective of a past lifetime, a galactic past lifetime, actually. Right. So when this shows up, it's kind of like that. When this energy shows up, it is the lower vibrational frequency, the branding mark, if you will, which does impact your ability to communicate with what I call the energetic forces of creation. So it's almost as if the universe can't read your frequency when that shows up. This is what they're explaining to me as we're talking, right? So it's like being cloaked. It's like I can't read behind the lead door. So when this shows up, it literally shuts off the beauties that's coming in because it just kind of can't find you. This is what is they're explaining to me.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Darius, want me to work on this? You guys want me to work on this real quick?
Yeah, and you didn't work with this during the session with Ken, so it wasn't showing up in your face at the time, or you
Um,
just forgot about it?
there's like this white ash thing that he was talking, and he said like I was
Oh,
hijacked, and that's what it happened last
No.
year. Since
Oh,
then, I'm having a lot of problem. I'm
okay,
recovering from those things slowly.
got
yeah.
it.
So yeah.
Okay. So the understanding here for the audience is things come in layers, right? And we're only going to be able to see or remove the things that are ready that I can dive into at the moment. So as we remove one thing, you may have other things that might show up
Yes.
that we're doing now. So I'm going to go ahead and close this down with your permission, correct?
Yes. Thank you.
Kaya kia kia la toshko, there's a council that shows up. Kaya kia kana kwamba, there's six. I feel like there's missing one. Show the one bring the one in. Kaya ano siya, I just gotta have a conversation. Kaya mapa ina kaya kia. Kaya bring your team in. Kaya niya talia kaya kari. You call it one rogue member of the council. Kaya alta kari eject. Kaya no kalina kinyoti nyotori kari ada kanyoch kinyo pull the energy audio. Koreama mamaleri no retor ganamba die. Kilere kalare mamaleri no toria. He's not happy. Kalare no he's not a bad guy. Kalero konoria no shuro no korema babaliaria tarikario kalera papakaria. He's actually fulfilling a promise. Kalero konema papakaria. Ka leti that you always remember him. It's just the way he did it was inappropriate. Kalena kolera kaparia konema karia off to the side. Kiliado korea 3 contracts burn. Shkilele kalani atalia dissolve. Kolera mapakol that out. Konema pakaria tieto kaparia. Shkalera kamamaliani nindi no shkorino kaparia no amabalia. Alero no shkriere karigoria just redoing the energy. Kaloria no shkalema malaria no gramablo kania barikanoria toria karea barkaro taria tarkaria tishiria. Kalorica naniata kaniata alore mapaparia. Kisho roto mamalaria na amabaria checking for a little belief system. Korea ever can get rid of that. The belief that you can't. Or the belief that this was. And rebuild. That should start disappearing within 3 days. So I know we're not going to be able to determine on the call whether it was effective or not, but just so your audience,
I'm feeling a lot of pulsation in my third, and my whole face is really warmed, and my whole spine is like literally some liquid kind of thing is poured on my whole body. Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Will you let us know what happens if anything changes during the call, or you start to see it lighten up? Let us know.
A lot of heat in my whole body.
Wow.
So I'm feeling something is happening on my
face. All right. Well, in a few
that time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amita. In a few minutes, look in the mirror and then let us know, because Ken, these things can shift out very quickly, right? Once we change the root source, the projection, the hologram that is, this reality of our body and our circumstances, that changes sometimes instantly.
I say it can, and normally it does. But when you have something physical, a bump, a rash, a bruise, the eyes and the brain are expecting to see a bump, a rash, a bruise. So the body, the brain will actually slow down the transformation because it can feel. But when you have something inside, a dis-ease, a pain, a discomfort, something you can't physically see with the eyes, then the transformation happens a lot faster.
Okay. I am super interested in where this is going to go, especially with what we're going to open up today. And Ken, Abundance Shortcut. I want to dive into this process, but explain a little bit about abundance and how the collective has shared this with you. First, like any perspectives on that need to come forward for people to understand maybe the way that this shows up at the higher realms.
Yeah, so think of it like this. As we look at the history of the human, we can go back to the Middle Ages, right, as an example. Yes. And the idea of poverty or lack was a standard common theme. That's just right. The way it was, right? And this was a collective theme. So now that the collective, the divine, the human collective, and all the other collectives fill in the blank, check the box, are like, hey, now we need to ascend. We have to get rid of all of that old mentality, emotions, attachments, the past lives, contracts, whatever, that bring us lower, as we talked about, right? In order for the collective as a whole to ascend, they have to remove the things holding us down, as we mentioned earlier. So the difference now between way back when, and you could say even 20 years ago, right, is that now the time is here to accelerate, and the entire universe, the collective, the galaxies, you know, you name the word you want to use, are all in alignment to say, okay, we're done with that old narrative. And now we're moving into the new, which means we got to get rid of all the old stories, all the old stuff, and we need to do it really, really fast. And this is what's happening. So they're on board, which really kind of changes the game, right?
It does. It does. It does. Okay. So as we do this, I want to hear what are some of the abundance challenges or questions that all of you have. Let us know in the chat. I'm going to be also ending the live stream. If you've been listening in on one of the social sites, you're going to want to join our live calls each day. Go to uwealthrevolution.com/now. We're also going to post this replay on a very special page. We'll have a link in the